Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I thought we'd have a little camp stove shootout, little backpacking stove shootout. And I bet you're asking, why do you have all of these stoves? Well, that's a two-part answer. It's very simple. I'm a self-professed gear junkie. I have a steady ailment of gas meaning gear acquisition syndrome. So that's why I have a multitude of these things. I also just like to be able to invite people along that maybe don't have gear. So I have lots of extras of things so that I can bring people along that maybe don't go all the time and don't have the gear to go all the time. So anyways, this is, we're gonna go through a couple of these cook kits real quick, and we're gonna have a little shootout and talk about the pros and the cons of all of them, why I have them, and maybe which one's right for you. All right, I want to start off by acknowledging, as you see, all of these are in like little stuff sacks. This is like my first cook kit I really ever put together right here, and it is in a light AF stuff sack. That's pretty cool. It's a Snow Peak 750 milliliter cook pot, and the light AF sack is designated for this cook pot. Most of these stuff sacks on light AF and Hilltop packs, which are these other three, are going to be designated in the size pot that you're looking for. And I just like these things because they just kind of keep everything together, and they also tend to keep your pot from rattling if it has a lid or whatever it might have. It's just an extra precaution. They're made out of Dyneema. They're incredibly lightweight. It's just an organizational thing for me. I happen to like these. And like I said, these darker gray ones, as you can see, like on the Soto pot there, that's a 700 milliliter Soto pot, and that Hilltops packs sacks fit it perfect. Hilltop packs sacks. Yeah. But anyways, I'll start off real quick with what these are, and I'm just going to go through them in chronological order. And like I said, this one right here, this is a Snow Peak 750 milliliter cook pot. It is in a light AF sack. I'll just pull that off real quick. This was kind of like the first one I ever put together. So it's kind of interesting because it's got some age on it. And as you see, I've modified the handles on the pot with some rubber line. And I never really got them to like stay again. They've been loose ever since I did that, which is another reason I got the stuff sack, because as you were going down the trail with this, it was like making all kinds of noise. But it is what it is. So that's 750 milliliter pot. Got a standard fuel bottle inside of it. And the stove. Let's put it together and you guys can see what this looks like. So this is just, I don't even know the model name of this. This is a basic jet boil stove. It's got a, I believe, piezo igniter on it. And it's not particularly lightweight, but it is more compact than a traditional jet boil stove that you have probably seen. It's about $56, I think, what I paid for it. Now that's probably not right now, but that's, I believe, what I paid for it. But you guys can see what it looks like set up right here. And like I said, it's got that igniter on it. I still do keep a Bic mini lighter in these things, all of them, because you just never know if that igniter is going to work or not. But overall, that's a pretty efficient stove. That's not super efficient for cost. This Snow Peak pot and lid, I believe when I bought it, was somewhere around $85 to $90. That was a pretty expensive pot. It's titanium. It's got these handles on it. Like I said, I pulled the handles off because they were pretty much unusable when the pot got hot. Titanium quickly transfers heat. So these things would fry your hands if you grabbed them barehanded. With these little rubber hoses that I put on them, you can pick it up off of your stove. But that was expensive. The stove is not necessarily really budget friendly. I'm just gonna say it's around $60 to $70 now. So it's not real budget friendly, but it is efficient. I think it could have been designed a little bit more compact, but that probably wasn't the final goal. It never really is when you're talking about jet boil. So that was my first kit. Really, it's quite a few years old. I want to say that I bought all that around 2016 when I actually started investing in new gear and was doing longer hikes. The next one on the list kind of everybody's favorite to talk about. This is kind of the same thing. This is a Toke 750 milliliter pot, and it also has integrated handles, but I have not done anything with them. I learned my lesson with the Snow Peak pot. It comes with a nice little lid on it, and this lid on this pot is pretty tight. You actually physically have to kind of pull it off. I can't remember how much this was when I purchased it, but it is one of the most affordable titanium pots on the market. And the stove, yeah. Stove is one of the cult favorites in the backpacking community. This is when I really started concentrating on how much everything weighed, and that is the BSR ultralight stove. Now that stove is titanium, like the pot. Again, you know, it's definitely ultralight. It is probably the most inefficient stove that I own. It doesn't do very well in windy conditions unless you have a way to cover it up. But it does work every time. I have not had it fail on me. So it is religiously faithful as far as working. But it doesn't have a built-in igniter. And I kind of just like, I know I bring a mini anyways, but the built-in igniter has become a thing I really like. You know, it's just one more thing that you have, like a backup of a backup, but that's what that looks like. That's probably the smallest, lightest setup I have in my arsenal. It's also a favorite for me to give to my boys and whoever's going, because I know it's going to work. I know it's easy to use, and it's just kind of a one and done kind of thing for anybody. And I think that you could really put that whole kit together for less than 70 bucks if you looked. It's pretty cheap. The stove itself is like $16. So that's for anybody that's wondering about like a budget option for a stove or whatever, that's the one. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. And it's tried and true. Tons of people have used it. The next one on the list, pretty cool. And I just bought this because, well, let's just be honest, I wanted one. Again, it's in the Hilltop Packs stuff sack that's designed for it, and that is the Jetboil Stash. Now, as you can notice, that is the largest cook kit that I have. It's more for when I take my boys or whatever. It's cool it's got this lockout handle on it, so no worries there that it's going to be too hot for you to pick up or anything like that. And it's titanium as well, and everything snaps into the lid of this. So your fuel canister, I'll pop these out for you, snaps into the lid, and you have room for a Bic Mini underneath of that. Your stove fits inside of the pot, and you have a stand, which I do like having these stove stands. I don't take them all the time. Obviously, if I'm taking the Stash, I have the stand for it, which can be really nice if you're dealing with uneven ground, and it's just one added little step, not a big deal. The design of this stove definitely is more compact than the other one I have. However, I don't think it would have been a huge deal to go ahead and add an igniter to this stove, which it does not have. So it's another stove in my arsenal that does not have an igniter. But it's nice. The pot locks into this one. Kind of make, you know, I'm sure you could put other pots on it, but it probably makes it a little bit difficult. But that's what that looks like all set up. Like I said, it is easily the biggest of all of the kits that I have, but it is nice to take if you are going to have the kids with you or whatever, and you're going to be boiling water for multiple meals, because this is probably one of the fastest, if not fastest, cook systems that I have, and it is also the heaviest. But I thought it was really neat. I thought it was a, you know, Jetboil's way of trying to reduce, you know, their stove's footprint, because for years a lot of people were kind of shying away from them because they were so heavy. I will say I don't really care for the lid. I don't use the lid when I'm boiling water. I don't trust it, because when it goes on here on the pot, like it, if you can see it, it just doesn't want to snap down anymore. And that happened relatively quickly. Another reason why I keep this in a stuff sack. So that's the Jetboil. Pretty cool. Oh, yep, that's probably why it doesn't work. All right, on to my newest and Most interesting cook kit. Now this one's really cool. You notice this does not have any handles or any exterior or anything on it, which I really like. This is a 700-liter Soto pot, and it comes with this really beautiful snap-in lid that is super secure. This thing is great. I call it my luxury kit. But this, as you can see, this lid snaps in really tight. It comes with its own lifting tool, so you do not have to worry about burning your hands, and it's extremely light. It doesn't weigh anything at all. That's the pot. Now, what is in here for the stove? Well, this is turning out to be one of my favorite go-to stoves. It's just super reliable, and that's the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. This thing is kind of a tried and true. MSR has been designing these stoves for years. They probably got more time in that game than anybody, and it shows in the design. This is a really well-designed stove. It's got a really nice piezo igniter on it. It is extremely efficient. It is easy to set up and self-explanatory. Like I said, that igniter it's really, a lot of thought was put, it's all metal construction. A lot of thought was put into that to make this a very long-lasting stove. And here's what this guy looks like set up. And it's like really, I'm literally getting ready to tell you guys it's secure. Seriously, it is very secure. And there's what that looks like. And then if you were to put the lid on there, and this lid actually has like a little rubber ring around the edge of it, which I think is really cool because it really seals up super well. And if you are boiling water on this, it is very easy to get that off and to manipulate that pot. I know this grabber isn't like an extra thing to have with you, but it has been really nice as far as just having control if you are putting water in a dehydrated meal or you're cooking or whatever. But I'm calling that my luxury. So it's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest. It is right up there in efficiency with the Jetboil, and it is really, I've only got to use it a few times, and it's really been great. So that is my stove kits. And let's talk about, obviously, the BSR stove combo kit that I showed you second is going to be a great budget option. You really can't go wrong with that if you're just trying to save money. The Jetboil Stash is a good option if you want something that's going to boil water extremely fast, and if you're cooking a lot and fuel efficiency is top of your priority. I really don't recommend the Snow Peak Jetboil combination anymore that I started with, because it's both expensive and it's just not the lightest weight, and it's just not the most efficient. If you really just want to buy a combination of these things and you want to buy one thing, I would definitely say the Pocket Rocket Deluxe is the way that I would go, and that's not a cheap stove. It's going to cost you quite a bit, not as much as the Jetboil Stash, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny. I think it's upwards close to $80 right now. The price is different everywhere you look, but it is an absolute game changer of a stove, in my opinion, compared to every other stove on this table. It's got a built-in igniter. The regulator is way more accurate. It is a super dependable, efficient stove. And as for the pots, that's just really personal. I'm really liking the Soto pot, mainly because, like I said, there is nothing on it to rattle around. It is silent, it is super light, and the Soto lid that comes on there is just superior to the other lids, in my opinion, if you're looking to have like a pour spout, or you want to strain water, or whatever you may want to do. And that's my opinion on my stove kits. If you guys got another kit that you think works out better, or you got questions about a kit that I may have, or you just want to talk about it, put it in the comments. And if you like videos like this and you want to follow along, smash that like button, guys, and subscribe, and we're going to keep these videos coming. Until next time.